Hello. So, while working on part 2 of my fairy tale rewrite series, I wanted to make a quick update video explaining to either any fairy tale fans, or any ex-fairy tale fans, or even fairy tale haters that happen to stumble upon this video. I myself am not a hater, however, I used to be a fan of fairy tale. I'm going to keep this video quite short, so I will just briefly go over my reasons here while using both of Hiromashima's previous work before Fairy Tail, being Rave Master, and the popular visual novel Fate Stay Night, written by Kinoko Nasu, as my blueprints for this rewrite series I'm working on as a side project. If any of you guys want to watch part 1 of the rewrite series up on my channel, if you have not done so yet, I'll leave a link in the description box below. Alright, so first up, I'm going to mention exploring alternate storylines while respecting the canon source material. This being the most obvious one, since after the Tower of Heaven arc, because the character dynamics will shift away from the canon material alongside expanding a bit on plot points that Hiromashima clearly just did not give 2 cents about outside of Fairy Tail, like, for example, the other guilds like Lamia Scale and Sabretooth, and of course also the dark guilds later on like the Orasian Sace. Next is attempt to make the arcs less formulaic while still having a narrative. Because after the first 1/3 of the manga was when I found Fairy Tail slowly start to decline a bit in quality with the repetitive, here's a new arc, villain of the week, with main character being Natsu finishing off the main villain through the power of friendship, and the stunted development for some characters. Character arc changes. So besides Natsu, the other characters will get better development and not just be resorted to joke stereotypes like, for example, Juvia. Less fake-out deaths. For those that have read or watched Fairy Tail, this one is self-explanatory. It got ridiculous during the last few arcs, Makarov being a prime example of this. More strategic fights. At least the important ones I will attempt to expand on and make longer to better fit how shonen fights in a manga should be done compared to how they were in canon after a certain point. Improve on the world building slightly. This one won't be guaranteed right away, but it will happen. Minimize plot holes. This one is also self-explanatory given the canon manga during the second half of Fairy Tail has quite a few of them. Also, to those wondering why I mentioned Fate Stay Night being the popular visual novel that also has anime adaptations for each route, this ties into both the first point I mentioned with alternate storylines alongside the third point regarding character arc changes. So, obviously, in the canon Fairy Tail manga, Hiromashima created 2 female main characters being Lucy and Urza respectively, who both share traits with Ellie from Rave Master. In the canon Fairy Tail manga, the focus was primarily on Lucy. For this rewrite as a subplot, I will be exploring more on Urza and attempt to make her less of a Mary Sue character. To clarify, while romance obviously is not important in shonen series, it does serve a purpose for character development. And yes, to those people that will ask, I do ship Natsu with both Lucy and Urza. Alright, I'm going to stop here for now. As I said, I wanted to keep this video short and post a quick update as I felt like sharing while I'm working on part 2 of the Fairy Tail rewrite series, which is going to be a much longer video than the first part. Thanks for listening and have a good one.